Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Snake People at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. It's the podcast where we talk about growing up and living queer, nerdy, and depressed online and at the cinema. From the kids who watched a lot of movies at home last year, for some reason, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Helena.
And I'm Matty. Just like last week we didn't have a Helena, this week we don't have an Ezra. Both weeks you have me, so you're welcome for my
One
forceful
must
personality.
fall. Yes.
Last week was bad. It's gonna be worse.
I think last week was really good.
Oh, did you listen to it already?
No. But I just know it was in my heart. I'm going to, of course, I planned on it, and since you used my episode title suggestion, I mean, I know it's gotta be good, and you're talking about a very worthy topic, so, I mean...
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's good. I'll listen to it.
True. I always know this happens almost every week because Ben pointed out to me, I don't really warn him about what we're doing for an episode or what I'm going to name it or what the photo's going to be. He has no idea what is going to happen until I drop that little link and the episode's already published. Mm-hmm. But every time I drop the little episode link and the group DM, and he's like, huh. You know, I know it's always something. So, yeah, last week was good.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a weird photo last week. It was just your incredible title. And he did actually know we were going to do Sean Bean. He mentioned it, and I was like, oh, we're doing Sean Bean this week. Because actually what he said was, you guys never told me what you're going to do, so I'll just, open the thing, and it'll randomly be, an episode on Russell Crowe or something. And I was like, funny you say that. We did do an episode on a different white man. If that helps, just a random.
That's not to say that we won't do an episode of Russell Crowe in the future. Yeah,
I'm not taking it off the table.
No.
It's firmly on the table.
I mean, we've all seen Master and Commander. We've all seen The Nice Guys.
Mm-hmm.
We have all seen Les Mis, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And also Gladiator.
Name another Russell Crowe movie. We've all seen Gladiator.
L.A. Confidential.
Yep, I have seen. I own that one for some reason. I think I bought that one before I watched it. I do like that movie decently, but also it's like, this is about LA cops, huh?
It is about that. Yeah. What other Russell Crowe movies?
I haven't seen Robin Hood. I heard it wasn't good, so I don't feel like I'm really missing out on anything.
No, but also Oscar Isaac is in that movie, and he's King John, and that's kind of good.
What?
It was actually the first thing I ever saw him in, I think.
Whack.
Yeah.
Alright, fine, I'll watch it.
Yeah. Matthew McFadden plays the Sheriff of Nottingham, which is upsetting to me, because he was not very nice in it. But that's okay. Well,
that doesn't surprise me considering who he's playing.
Yeah.
Kind of just thinking about it. I don't know.
Bad person.
I'm sorry that was a hard one for you.
Yeah, that's pretty traumatic, but I got over it.
Yeah.
Now he's on Succession, also playing a terrible person who's more likable somehow.
but more palatable for you. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're not talking about Russell Crowe this episode, despite the intro.
No.
What are we talking about this episode, Helena?
I don't know. Well, no, we're talking about... So I have no idea what's going on anywhere. I wrote a thing that I've been working on for way too long. That's just I was keeping track of all the movies that I watched in 2020, and that were not just 2020 releases, but from every year. And I was making lists as well, because I love to make lists of all of the ways in which I love them. This is the best picture that I saw this year. This is the worst ones that I watched. These are the ones that I've seen so many times that I don't need to watch them again, because I can just watch them in my head, but I watch them anyway. Favorite performances, that kind of thing. And I did that, and I made it, and then I was like, hey, anybody wants to look at this, here you go. So we kind of were wanting to talk about our favorite movies that we watched last year, both for the ones we watched for the first time, and also ones that we rewatched as well. There might be some here that we've already talked about in previous episodes, so we'll probably talk about them less. I don't know what I'm going to say about some of these. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and you have a longer list. There's some movies that didn't really make it onto my list that I'm like, man, I'd like to like talk about that, or like movie watching experiences actually that I had that I'd like to talk a little bit more. So I don't know. We'll just we'll do our list, and then we'll just kind of like just spin off the dome and see what happens. Just like play in the space.
Yeah, to play with you in the space. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Join me in the space.
before we do what we sneak to, I'd like to do a little shout out, and Requiesce, I didn't watch him, to Charles Grodin, who passed away. I think was it 2 days ago now?
That sounds correct as of recording.
2 or 3 days ago, yeah. Who is one of my favorite like actors of all time. He is so funny. He, I think, is just like the straight comedy man of his generation. You probably know him from Midnight Run, from the Beethoven movies, from Heartbreak Kid, The Great Muppet Caper. He's the best part of Heaven Can Wait. He was in Heart and Souls. He's been in a ton of stuff, not only movies as well, but television as well. He was amazing and so controlled and so funny to watch, and just like also really sweet as well. That's what I always loved about him as a performer, was especially in Midnight Run, where he's paired with Robert De Niro as a kind of like buddy movie, is that he just had a genuine like sweetness and innocence sometimes that he could also turn on a dime, and I just thought he was brilliant. So he's also seemed like a really cool guy from all that I've heard about him. So yeah, just want to just pay tribute to that.
Yeah, rest in peace, my man.
Man, Heart and Souls, that's one I wish I could talk about on this episode. I won't, though.
I haven't seen that movie, like, since I think you showed it to me, like, all those years ago.
Whoop.
It's been a very long time.
I still have it, because Jamie recorded it for me on Comcast On Demand on a VHS tape and gave it to me as a present. Yeah. And I found it. I lost it for a very long time, and then I found it recently before I moved out. And it still runs. It still works. I tested it. Yeah. God bless VHS tapes.
You gotta love them. Oh my god. Brief aside, but like, my parents are moving out of my like sort of childhood home, and therefore I've been like moving stuff out of their home, as you know. Mm-hmm. And with that, my dad and I both we're very sentimental people in a way, and we like to hold on to things. And for both of us, that has meant that we have a lot of movies hanging around, and I have like 2 or 3. I had a box of VHS, like a big box of VHS tapes in storage already. Nice. But I found another box or two, smaller box or two. I have so many VHS tapes, which is like really exciting to me.
That's so cool.
I have a bunch of weird ones that I'm like, why do I own this? I like hadn't seen this movie before 2 years ago. Like, why do I have this? But yeah, I'm like excited. I think I have a VHS player sometime too. So when I have more space, I'm excited to like pull all those out and kind of like dig through them. Yeah. I think I have Star Wars on VHS multiple times. I think I have almost all of the ones that were available on VHS. I don't have Revenge of the Sith because it's notoriously hard to get because it was right in that transitional period.
Right.
But I think I have 2 sets of the original trilogy, one of which is before all of the edits, which is cool.
Yes, I was going to ask if they were the ones. Because those are the ones that I saw originally. Not with you, but
I
somebody
have
else.
Both. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Which is cool. I also have a VHS tape of one of the like kid videotapes that my dad was in, which is like, oh, that's sweet. Yeah. I forget who he did it for. He played a jester, which is like such a my dad role to do. But I was like glad to see that at the top of the pile because I was like, oh, I lost that, and like you can't get copies of that, but like that's my dad. I want to like show that to my kids someday.
Yeah.
So yeah, very very sweet. Unrelated that's to like good. Everything else. I'm just thinking about VHS tapes. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I like.
Now that you've mentioned those Star Wars things, I'm just thinking angrily about the fact that the New Hope DVD that I own has edits. So yeah. I can't not watch it without the fucking Han Mabuki scene that we didn't go
Han
through.
Mabuki.
That one every
Yeah,
single
I think
time.
all my DVDs also are like that.
Ay. Whack.
Which I actually lost my DVDs of the original trilogy in a move at some point, and my dad was like, "Oh, I have all of them. Do you want them?" And I was like, "Yes, please. Thank you." So now I have the full collection, except for 2 of the sequel movies because I didn't buy them, and also Solo because I didn't buy that either.
That's no shame in that. Now tell me, nerd.
So most of them. Yeah.
Now, forgive me for addressing you in such a manner, but I feel like it's appropriate for the situation. Nerd, is there a scene in the end of Empire Strikes Back? Is there a shot of them, like, bringing Han's body onto the ship after they've frozen him in carbonite?
Oh, I just watched that movie. That is a great question.
Because I feel like I watched that.
I believe so.
Okay, I was wondering. I should know after the number of times I've
100%.
seen it.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I just watched it, but I may have a false memory of that. To be fair, I'm like, you say that, and that sounds kind of familiar, but also I recently watched a Clone Wars episode where they do something very similar to that, and they do like put them on a ship. So I'm like, maybe I am transplanting that memory onto Empire Strikes Back.
Interesting.
I'm just not sure.
I have a very vivid memory of that shot in particular when I watched it for the first time on my friend Lila's VHS tapes in her house, and I'm wondering if that was real. I guess.
Something they got rid of, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. I'll have to find out later. Anyway,
we can look it up later. Yeah.
Nerd out over. What have we seen?
What have we sneaked? I'll go first because I don't have very much, and mine is all embarrassing. I just want to get it over with. I don't remember if I mentioned last episode that I was rewatching Star Wars and I watched Empire Strikes Back, but I'm just gonna say that if I didn't, I watched Empire Strikes Back again. Oh, I think I did. Doesn't matter. I saw Mitchell's vs. Machines, which is that new Netflix movie, which was just a fucking delight. That was a boys' night movie, and I finished it up, and like right afterwards, I wanted to like call my dad, but it was like midnight, so I couldn't. But like really well animated, like very sweet, very funny. Well done. Highly recommend. And then the past 2 days, I watched Resident Evil Vendetta, which is the 2017 CGI animated Resident Evil movie. Watched Cowboys vs. Aliens 2012, the one with Daniel Craig. I watched Resident Evil 2002, which is the first of the live-action movies. And I watched Resident Evil Apocalypse, which is the second of the live-action movies. If you couldn't tell, I've been consuming a lot of Resident Evil recently, just kind of like opened the pipeline and shoved it into my brain, because I finished RE8. Which is a very, very good video game. And I was like, oh, I like Resident Evil, don't I? And then my brain was like, yeah, you really do. Do you want to consume every piece of Resident Evil that you could get your little hands on? And I was like, yeah, I do. So it's been a nightmare for everyone involved, I think. But beyond that, I've been like kind of picking at Lupin still. I'm just kind of pushing my way through. Which I already talked about last episode. And then I actually haven't been watching much else. Like, normally I would be like, yeah, and I've been, like, watching a little bit of this TV thing, or, yeah, I watch these other, like, you know, I've been watching YouTube, whatever. I have been playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Legacy, whatever the fuck it's called. They released all the Mass Effect games, and I've been playing that basically in all my spare time, and RE8. I've just been a lot of good games out right now, so that's kind of been all my free time. So.
Would you say in the end that
#gamers
you were the Resident Evil?
Oh yeah, I am definitely the Resident Evil of this podcast for sure.
Oh, okay, cool. I just wanted to clear that
maybe
up.
Of our friend group, I don't know. No one's yelled at me. It's actually been nice because I'm always self-conscious when I get really into like a thing. But for the most part, all my friends are like, "Are you winning, son?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Great. I'm glad you're having fun. Thanks for sending it these photos of Odin Fair." And I'm
yes,
like, you're
actually,
welcome.
genuinely, thank you for that.
He was in Resident Evil Apocalypse.
Oh yeah. Oh,
playing a Latino guy.
Oh, interesting.
Which is like, oh, that's an interesting casting choice, I guess. But the bar is pretty low for the Resident Evil movies
in the 2000s. I just really quickly tangent. You mentioned Discord, and I opened Discord again to look at the pictures you posted of Odette Fair, and then I saw what I posted, which is that meme of they don't know that's Hannibal fan art they're hanging in the U.S. Capitol. So I just want to shout out to a real king here. What is their name? Yeah, that
who won that competition?
Who won the competition to get their art displayed? What is it? Kathleen Palmer. Kathleen Palmer, wherever you are the best
hero
of
and a
us.
scholar. Yeah. I love, and genuinely, it's a really good painting. But
It's
I
a
love
really
your Cubist
interesting
Hannibal fan art, and god damn it, you deserve to have it hung in the Capitol. And I'm sure right now you are deeply embarrassed. I bet you probably didn't think it was going to get this far. You're probably a little embarrassed, and if you're not,
you should be.
I love that for you.
Yeah, I don't think that you should be because it's so good. It's because
it's really good, and also it rips that you specifically are responsible for putting Hannibal fan art in the Capitol.
I feel like it's what the U.S. Capitol deserves, kind of in a way, you know. Yeah. And I feel like it's also.
I think it'll probably be the best thing in the entire U.S. Capitol.
Yeah,
so,
I feel like
people
shouldn't be quote. It's great that I found out about it this way, but people shouldn't be quote tweeting, being like with actual U.S. representatives being like, "Yo, this is Hannibal fan art." Don't tell them. I want this to be like our kind of Area 51.
Yeah.
Where we know a secret that is in like the top levels of government that they don't know.
Yeah.
And
that they don't know.
They'll never know. They probably already know.
Like those representatives look at their fucking Twitters anyway. But
yeah, exactly. Like their team will know, and their team will be like, "Bruh."
Yeah.
But hopefully nothing more than that, because I don't want people to discover. I think it's great that we're just pretending like it's normal. Fantastic.
That's for us.
That's for us. What did I watch? I was not present last week, so I have some movies saved up from the week before, but also I haven't been watching as many movies as I would like, because I have been tired, and also I've been rewatching a lot of Monster Factory instead. So I've seen Pretend It's a City, which is the new Martin Scorsese documentary on Netflix about Fran Lebowitz and living in New York City and all such sundry and related material. I had a good time with that. I rewatched Portrait of a Lady on Fire with the gang, which you guys probably talked about briefly last week. I rewatched National Treasure because I came home one night with the plan of watching something else, and then I came in the room, and my roommates were watching a movie, and I saw Nicolas Cage in a parka, and I was like, "Are you watching National Treasure?" And they're like, "Yes, that's really terrifying that you knew that after 5 seconds of watching the screen, but please join us." And I said, "Absolutely, I will." And it was great. I watched Dumbo for the first time, the animated Dumbo, because I've been going back and watching a lot of Disney movies that I've never seen before. It was fine. It's got its issues for sure. It also ends really abruptly. To me, maybe it just felt abrupt, but I was surprised by that. I rewatched Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas. Because I finished Dumbo, and then I was like, oh, I have all this extra time because Dumbo was so short. What's another shortish movie on Disney Plus that I can just watch? And that was the shortest one, was Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas. Yeah.
I didn't realize that's why I didn't realize you were double featuring it with Dumbo, which makes it so much funnier when you watch that movie.
Yeah, it was a good double feature in a way.
Was it?
And the way that in which it was a good double feature is that it was not good at all. And I mean, let's see, what else? What do they have in common? There's a little character in each one. Like there's a little mouse in Dumbo, because they were just obsessed with tiny sidekicks back then. And then there's a little Piccolo in Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, voiced by, I'm forgetting, Paul Rubens, who is Pee Wee Herman. And he is the sidekick to Tim Curry, who is the world's scariest pipe organ I have ever seen. It is awful. If you have ever seen that movie and you remember the CGI as being pretty fucked up, guess what? Yeah, you're right. It's bad. It's really bad. It's quite extraordinary how bad the CGI is in that movie. I mean, the animation in general is kind of like, I don't want to like dump on animators, but it's true that for the Disney sequels, they were not given nearly as much as the budget and the time.
No, they were done by a secondary company as well.
Yes. So
not to dunk on whoever that, because whatever y'all were doing, you did make Aladdin 3, and I love
you did make Aladdin
that.
3, but there is a noticeable difference.
Yes.
In everything, and
yes,
CGI Tim Curry pipe organ. Really,
the thing is, I don't know why they decided to. I guess that was from an era where like there would be one thing in a movie that would randomly be CGI, because they'd be like, this is a thing that we could do, but we don't really have the wherewithal yet to like be able to do the whole thing in this, so we're just gonna do like one little piece.
Yeah,
that's gonna be our like technical show off. But the problem is that almost everything that they used that for from that era now looks really bad.
Yes. I mean, in Aladdin, it's like they use it for the Cave of Wonders, and they use it for like Big Tiger Man, my best friend, and then when Aladdin's trying to escape from Big Tiger Man, they like all of the walls that he runs into
like
are
first person POV.
Yeah, the bad like video game.
You are escaping the Cave of Wonders.
Yeah, and it's like, woof. Even as a kid, I could tell that was like, that's not right, is it? So Big Tiger looks great, awesome, beautiful. That stuff didn't look so hot. I'm sure that they used some of it in Beauty and the Beast, like the original Beauty and the Beast, but I can't think of what they used.
I don't think they did.
No, I don't. Yeah,
just thinking over it.
Yeah, I can't think of any moment in which that would be. I mean, maybe for some of the Be Our Guest, like a lot of the big dance numbers that they did for that, I think it's possible.
But
anyway, that's besides the point. The point is that they used it in Enchanted Christmas and it looked really bad. It also was like very terrifying to me because all of the other...
It's scary.
The other... well, let's see. Most of the other servants... they get turned into objects that can move around to some degree. They have some mobility. Tim Curry is like the maestro, the music teacher, and then he gets turned into a pipe organ and he's stuck to the wall because he's like a pipe organ. And when they destroy him at the end, they like kill him. So he dies as a pipe organ, and it's really incredibly messed up. And I guess I can't think of what his motivation is. Oh, I mean, I know what his motivation is, but it's just like, okay, I don't know. He's like, I like being a pipe organ.
That movie takes place kind of in media res of the actual Beauty and the Beast movie, right? Like,
it does.
It takes place in the middle of her being there, which is like,
whack.
Damn, they killed a person while she was there, and she moved in.
Yeah.
She stuck around.
It's like from in between something there.
True love does conquer all.
And Beauty and the Beast. They're like, man, it was whack over that Christmas when that pipe organ died and like tried to kill me again, and you locked me in the dungeon, and there was an angel who sounded like Bernadette Peters. Don't know where she got to. Guess she's back in the attic. Oh well. Anyway, that was weird, right? Let's never talk about this ever again until next year when we have to tell Chip. When we have to tell Chip a bedtime story about something that he was already there for. Like, I don't understand it. It's a midquel, and they're saying, well, Chip, here's a story about something that happened at Christmas, and it's like, he was there.
I mean, right when you know.
He was there. Chip was right there the whole time. Like, he wasn't directly involved in the action.
Short memories.
This is true. Especially when you've been transformed into a teacup. I imagine the transfer is a bit...
You know, I feel like he probably just blocked a lot of that out.
Yeah.
I would have.
Yes. Like, oh, man. Poor Chip. Anyway, wow. Rip.
What a movie. What a film.
What a film. I got wine drunk and watched For Weddings and a Funeral that happened. It made me very happy. That was a couple weeks ago. I watched Pinocchio for the first time. Hey, speaking of fucked up,
the animated one, yeah. The classic one.
What the fuck?
It's been a while since I've seen that one. Are you referring specifically to the whale?
No.
The whole whale situation? Okay.
Not even referring to... I mean, the whale's pretty scary. I am referring to two things. I am referring to the coachman, first of all.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
That's very good.
I'm gonna do a quick Googler, you know?
Okay. Godspeed. And, the coachman who specifically enlists, Honest John, to take Pinocchio.
Oh, he's a little spooky, huh?
Yeah, he's a little spooky. He gets real angry at one point, and then he makes a face like Wario, and you're kind of like, that's not right.
I'm looking at that image right now, yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
The third antagonist, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Honest John and whatever the cat's name is, are like the primary antagonists, and they're just like, you know, homosexuals looking for trouble. And the coachman is like the literal devil, and he gets kids to go on his coach to Pleasure Island, and then they turn into donkeys. And then he sells them to salt mines and other places, even though they're still children on the inside, but they're donkeys and they can't speak. And the ones who can still speak and talk like humans, we don't really know what he does with them. And Pinocchio watches one of the kids transform into a donkey while he's like yelling for his mom in front of him. And it's like, cool. What the fuck happened here? I mean, it's very, very good. Don't get me wrong. It's like the fact that it's terrifying makes it very good. But it's also...
I do remember actually that scene you're referring to where the boy turns into a donkey. That is like one of that and the way are like the only things I remember about this movie.
Hard to forget, I imagine. I think if I saw this as a kid, I would have been deeply scarred. Because I think that, you know, one of the other transformation sequences tend to fuck me up quite good. And there was that scene in The Witches, of course, where they transform Bruno into a mouse that was, you know, pretty bad, too. Anyway, good movie, Pinocchio. I also watched A New Leaf, which is very different from Pinocchio, thank God. That is with Elaine May and Walter Matthau. It's a romantic comedy that Elaine May wrote and directed herself. It's her first film in 1970, I think. About a playboy billionaire, Walter Matthau, which is very funny, who suddenly finds himself unable to support his extravagant lifestyle, and so his only solution is to find a rich heiress to marry, and he finds Elaine May's character, who is a clumsy, bespectacled, awkward botanist, and she falls in love with him, and then he tries to, you know, follow through on this plan, and with the plan that he's going to murder her after they're married. It's very dark, but it's also very, very funny, and kind of weirdly sweet as well. I really enjoyed it. And besides that, I was finishing Shadow and Bone, the series, the TV series, and rewatching Monster Factory. Monster Factory is the main reason that I have not watched as many movies as I have, because I've just been getting home and wanting to laugh. That's pretty much all.
Having a laugh.
Having a laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair. You know, like I said, I've been playing video games basically nonstop.
Yes,
so
you have been playing video games.
Cannot judge. Yeah. Video jams. Mm-hmm.
Video games, James Kirk, yeah.
Yeah. Video James of Furious Kirk, yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess I haven't. I've been thinking about Star Trek a lot, but I actually haven't watched much since the last time I was talking about it. So sorry to Patrick Stewart specifically for that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll forgive me.
Well, now I'm just thinking of the Chiquita Dave Monster Factory episode where the Emperor was voiced back in the game Oblivion.
Oh my god. No, you don't. We talked about the fact that Patrick Stewart is in that game last episode because Sean Bean is also in that game.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. Well, rip Grandpa Piss.
You know, everything everything ties together in a perfect little bow.
6 degrees of separation.
I can't remember if Sean Bean's character is in that Monster Factory episode. I feel like he plays the son of the Emperor, and I don't know if they ever see him. Much like I didn't go see him in my playthrough of Oblivion, because I was busy during side quests. Anyway.
Very valid.
Okay, you wanna get into it? You wanna get into the meat of the episode here?
Oh my goodness, yes. Where do I start?
Where do we start?
Where do I even?
I mean, do you want to just... I feel like for anything where we have a list, it's nice if we just kind of, like, go through the lists and then just kind of, like, talk about it as we go and then kind of...
Yeah. Oh, we want to talk about my rating system as well, which is...
Oh, yes. No, first hit me with your... Because in this document, you rate everything.
Yeah.
And I use Letterboxd as a comedy website. I do not rate things. I write my stupid little jokes, and that is all I do. Mm-hmm. And you are my Letterboxd straight man, where you do review things.
And the Charles Grodin
as the...
Yeah.
You use it as the website was intended.
Mayhaps. Yeah, so I think everything here is based on the Letterboxd system, which I think works very well for me, my brain actually, which is 0.5 star through 5 stars, because 1 to 10, like IMDb does, is fucking madness, anarchy, nonsense. So I guess the way to think about it is like anything that's 3.5 stars or up is something that I liked. 3.5 and 4 stars, those are movies that I liked. And then it's kind of arbitrary in terms of like, I up it to 4 stars or keep it down at 3.5 based on the relative quality of the movie. Which is why you see a lot of movies on here like, I don't know, National Treasure, or movies that do not make an appearance on here, which I think are very good examples of this, like Spy Kids, which is like, you know, a very creatively made movie. I don't think that it's like, you know, the best movie ever made. No, I mean, one may argue it is, but I like that movie a lot.
It's fairly creative.
Yes, it is, and there's like some good stuff about it. The important thing is that I enjoy it, but I'm not going to say it's like a 4 star. I'll give it like 3.5 stars, and that's great for it. 4.5 and 5 stars.
Like Jurassic Park is a 3.5 star on your list. Am I recording that correctly?
That shouldn't be right. It should be 4.
Okay, I was gonna say I was gonna be like, isn't Jurassic Park 3.5 stars? Because that movie is good, actually. So
yeah, that movie is.
I don't know why it's.
And again, like 3.5 stars doesn't necessarily mean that it's like bad and I like it. It's just like between 3.5 and 4 stars. But
Jurassic Park is a well-crafted film, so I think we were gonna have to get into it.
No. If I have that as 3.5 stars, that is wrong.
I may be recalling incorrectly, also.
Okay, no, it's 4 stars. Okay, whew.
Okay, great. Never mind. We're good.
Okay, we're good.
We can be friends.
We're fine. Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff on here. I mean,
what puts something up to 5 stars?
So 4.5 to 5 stars are movies that I love. So that is, you know, kind of difficult, and I think sometimes like something won't always be 4.5 to 5 stars the first time I watch it, because sometimes you fall in love with the movie instantly, but sometimes it takes a couple of like views to feel that way about it. So sometimes, you know, ratings are immutable. They are mutable, rather. They will change. So same kind of basic thing, like 4.5 to 5 stars. I love it. And then like 5 stars is like practically perfect in every way, as Mary Poppins would say. I can't think of anything wrong with it. And the 4.5 is basically like, I think it's very good. I think it's great. But, you know,
there are some things in it that are like not perfect.
Yeah, there's some things in it that, you know,
it has its flaws.
Yes, which is like why, I mean, with this system, of course, I do have to make some accept. Like, a thing that actually always gets me is like Star Trek: First Contact. That always, or actually, weirdly enough, Contact, the movie Contact, which I think are both very good movies. I think, filmmaking wise, if I was just evaluating them on their filmmaking, I'd be like 4 stars solid. But I love them so much that I gotta up it to 4.5 because it's just like, otherwise it's not quite the same to me in my head.
The emotional merit of them brings them up. Your rating is based on both like emotional attachment and also quality.
Yes, yeah. Trying to it's taken me a long time to find a balance between those two things, but I feel like I finally have found that sweet spot. So we'll see.
Yeah.
3 stars means that I neither really liked it, or really disliked it. It's just like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Middle of the pack.
I don't have any strong feelings of dislike to it, but I also, it's not also one of my favorites. 2.5 stars to 2 stars means I didn't like it, obviously. Between the two of those things, I just don't know. I feel like 2.5, like at least there's something there where I'm like, oh, that could have been interesting. And then 2 stars, there's just like nothing, maybe. I haven't quite figured it out. I just kind of go with my instinct based on that.
Yeah, the bottom of the pack is the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, less distinctive. Because and then of course 1.5 to half stars is just like, I fucking hated this movie. Yeah. And then yeah. So there's very few of those.
And once you're getting down there, also like I feel like, and this is I feel like I'm about to ask you kind of a leading question, but it's also a clarifying question for you. Like, I know that like if a movie is well made, you like it for the most part. Like you get enjoyment out of, even if it's like, because there are movies that I have watched, and that's something I'm also just trying to like get over, as I realize like that is something that I deal with sometimes, is like there can be a movie that's really well made and I like don't enjoy it for some other reason, whereas for you that's just not really a thing you run into very much.
Yeah, I would say so.
So something that is well made probably isn't going to end up in the 3 and under slot just because like...
Yeah. Generally, I think that there are some exceptions to that. I feel like I changed my rating on Eraserhead quite a few times in this process of like rating stuff, because of course I went through this over and over again, which is why it took me like 5 months. And like Eraserhead, when I reviewed Eraserhead, I was like, okay. I mean, like I love David Lynch, love what he does. Man is a total weirdo. Love it. Good for him.
Yeah,
I don't know if I like Eraserhead, but I can see the merit in it, obviously. And there's nothing saying like, because I love Mulholland Drive. And there's some things in Mulholland Drive in terms of like style, obviously because it's the same director, but style and presentation that are extremely similar to Eraserhead. And there's just something about Mulholland Drive that's extra that like draws me into it. But technically they're very, very similar films, and in some respects, and plot not so much. But Eraserhead just didn't do it for me. But then I was like going through it later, and I was like, it's so good though. Like it's so different, and the fact that it's made in 1977, like, it blows my mind because it's so it's so ahead of its time in terms of what other directors were doing at that moment, that it feels like it could have been made, like, people were doing movies like Eraserhead 20 years later, and he'd already done Eraserhead in 1977. And it's so beautiful to look at, and it's so creepy and everything, that I like wanted to up it up to 4 stars, but then going back over this, I was like, I'm gonna bring it back down again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends. It for sure depends.
Yeah.
For me. But I feel like...
Yeah,
No, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, for my kind of ratings, I know I was like, oh, they're all jokes, but like, for me, the like way I view movies is so like the quality, the objective quality of a film, and like my emotional attachment to it are both very separate and very entangled in like weird ways, that for me, I like started thinking about a rating system, and I was like, I would have to have 2 separate rating systems.
Exactly.
I would have to have one for quality and one for emotional attachment. And sometimes my emotional attachment to a movie like will bump it up. If it was just one, it would be like, okay, is Van Helsing a good movie? No, it's not. I'm sorry, Van Helsing is not a good movie.
It's not a good movie, no.
But it would end up being at least like 4 stars for me because I fucking love that movie. Right. So like, but then that's not a real rating of that movie, of the quality of that. That's not a helpful rating of that movie.
But is it? I mean, who's to say?
For me, yes, that is fair. For me, yeah. I do not view that as, when I look at ratings, I look for like, okay, is this a good movie? Like, when I look at the Rotten Tomatoes rating of Van Helsing, I'm like, yeah, that seems accurate.
Yeah.
When I look at the Rotten Tomatoes rating for Pitch Black, I'm like, fuck you. Because that movie is, like, a well-made movie. Mm-hmm. What I want is for if Letterboxd wants me to start rating things, then they don't care about me. But if they want me to start rating things, they need to give me the option to put 2 ratings on everything.
And that's what
I guess I can do myself, but that's so much more work than just making my stupid jokes.
That's what I've been struggling with this whole time I've been on here. Man, I've changed my rating system God knows how many times I've changed it. Because I've always struggled between capturing those 2 different reactions to it, which is like the objective quality of it and my own emotion. That like, I've thought about even doing a whole thing. Like, there are some people on here, like there's a guy on here who's like, yeah, this is 92 out of 100. I'm like, how the fuck do you count that
I can't live like that
much? And like, I've thought about doing something like that for my own, like, okay, well, if I break down, like, here's what's important to me about a movie, and I break it down into 10 categories, and blah, I'm like, no, Helena, you do not have the time to do that in your life. You're already spending way too much time.
Sucked into it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at what I fucking made. This thing is 37 pages long, and it's just lists. Like, I already do this for fun on my spare time. If somebody gave me opened the door and said, yes, please walk in here, and it said, why don't you make an out of 100 evaluation system for all of these? I'd be like, well, yes, sir, don't mind if I do. And I would forget to eat food. I didn't do it like that. I just found a way to combine them in my head a little bit. Anyway, man, so difficult. But hopefully leads us to some
it's
truth.
Hard.
Yeah.
I also, like, there's some movies where, like for example, I think my joke review for Resident Evil Vendetta was, like, there's no review, good or bad, of this movie that matters because I got to see Chris Redfield suplex 2 different zombies in the same scene. There's some movies where, like, it does not matter if the movie is good or bad, because sometimes shit happens, you're like, I'm glad I got to see that with my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or,
sure. Like, I'm sorry I had to see that with my eyes. Both ways. But, like, I was like, I don't care about my emotional attachment to this movie or the quality of it or anything. He fucking suplexed 2 different zombies. And it was great. It was good.
Oh,
that movie actually had, I will say, a really good fight choreo in a way I was not expecting.
And that makes it really good.
Yeah, there was a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and it was really well done. I think they had actual stunt people do it, and then they modeled over them, which was part of it. Anyway, doesn't matter. I don't want to show y'all, like, that whole movie, because I don't think if you don't give a shit about Resident Evil, you probably won't give a shit about that movie, but I just want to find clips of it to show you guys, to be like, but look at this fucking knife fight, though. This is out of this world.
I really would,
anyway.
I feel like that I would enjoy watching that in person. I feel like. It may be, like, difficult over streaming on Discord to, like... I sometimes have a hard
that's
time.
One of those movies that, like, it's more fun if you watch it with your friends in person.
Yeah. With no lag or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
Yeah, okay. Let's list.
Let's lists.
Do you want to go? Do you want me to go?
Sure, you can go.
Damn it. Okay.
God.
So mine is a little bit messy because I only started keeping a Letterboxd on July 15th of 2020. So about halfway through the year. Which means that for, like, the first half of the year, I had to, like, go through old Sneople documents, and that meant that I had to rely on, like, my memory for those, and, like, I'm sure I missed a few things, but I think I kind of got a list. So my top 5 new movies were actually mostly things I saw kind of in the front half of the year, which was interesting. I saw Snowpiercer for the first time. I saw Maurice with you.
Yeah.
I saw Parasite for the first time. I saw All That Jazz with you. And I saw Jaws for the first time, also with you.
Yeah.
I saw Jaws a couple times, I think with different people.
Yeah, that's right, because you watched
it
with Stan and Higu, right?
Yes, I believe so, because I think I looked at the document and I was like, I saw Jaws, and you were like, who the fuck did you watch Jaws with? And I was like, I'm sorry. And then honorable mention, I was like, I gotta find a way to put this on the list somehow, but like I couldn't justify taking anything else off. I saw Porco Rosso for the first time when I was watching all those Ghibli movies. And like, God, what a fucking good movie. I mean, all of them obviously are very good. Like, all of them blew me out of the water in different ways. And I'm like and a lot of them were like, oh, I finally got around to seeing this, and I'm glad that I did. Which was very nice. And then my top 5 rewatches were watch The Martian again. Not surprising, I watched it a lot. I saw Princess Mononoke again. That one was cool because I hadn't seen it in a really long time. So I gotta, like, come back to it. So it was kind of like seeing it with fresh eyes, because I had seen it as a kid, but, like, also, like, I didn't remember. It was great. Good experience. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, always and forever, movie of my heart. Halloween, once again, fucking good. And then Over the Garden Wall, which I ended up watching through all the way 3 different times in 2020, because we showed it to you, and then I showed it to my friend Stan, and then on Halloween, Amanda put it on the background while we were, like, she was getting ready for Halloween.
Yeah.
And then when she left, I just, like, left it on.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, I'm like, I think we got through episode 4, and I was like, I mean, there's not that many episodes left, like, I'll just fucking watch it.
Might as well, yeah.
I'm already here. And an honorable mention for all 3, or I think the first 2 Riddick movies, which I watched in the span of like 2 or 3 days, along with Doom with Carl Urban, which was like, man, what an experience it was to watch all of those kind of back to back to back. There was another one too that I watched with those. It was very funny because I watched like both of the Riddicks. I watched Doom. I watched Priest again. I think I watched Priest twice last year, and I think I watched Priest for the first time with those movies, and I watched Castle in the Sky, which is another Ghibli movie.
Yeah.
So I watched like 4 middlingly quality movies. It was 3 bad movies because Chronicles of Riddick is not as good as Pitch Black, and then I watched Castle in the Sky, which is a really good movie.
Yeah.
Those were my movies for a week. Which was an experience, but those were kind of my top 5 plus honorable mentions. I watched a lot of really good stuff this year. Actually, I was looking through. I watched a lot of really good stuff, and then I rewatched a lot of stuff which was not very good, but that I liked a lot.
Yeah.
Which was fun. Obviously, I think actually weirdly having a letterbox made me want to watch more movies because I wanted to be like, I'm gonna record my little joke about my movie. So yeah, that was nice, and I'm excited next year to presumably do this again because I'm like, oh man, I'll finally have like kept track of everything this year.
Yeah, man.
And I've already seen a lot of really good stuff this year. So
same. Yeah. I'm really excited to do next year because I feel like I still watched a lot of really good stuff last year. But I don't want to say that I was hampered. I just like last year I was living with my parents. So I was at the whim sometimes of like, I didn't feel like, although I did do this quite often, sitting in the living room on my computer watching a movie while my parents watched something on the TV. I actually did that with Eraserhead, speaking of Eraserhead, while they were watching something else, and I didn't realize until maybe about like 15 minutes in that my headphones weren't plugged in all the way. So I wasn't getting like the full sound experience, and I was like, why is this so quiet? And then they were hearing the Eraserhead music that plays at the beginning of Eraserhead kind of quietly underneath this like scene that they were watching.
Fucking God.
And my mom was like, this music doesn't seem right for this. And I had no idea what was going on. I was just like, this just seems like really quiet sound effects, David. Like, what's going on? Did you... Oh.
My man, David.
Whoops, David. Oh, I'm sorry. David, no!
Dave, I'm sorry.
Dave. So, circumstances being what they are, I didn't want to be like that person every night. I didn't want to watch stuff with my parents some night. And not be how I was in high school when my dad would like give me a ride to school and I would listen to in the passenger seat and listen to my iPod. Like that level of like isolation. So sometimes I did have to pick something that we could all enjoy, which meant, that was severely limiting in the month of October, especially, which is, as we all know, horror month for Helena. Halloween month. The entire month is Halloween. I just couldn't. I
watched a lot of scary movies that month.
And there's like a lot of really good scary movies on Criterion, and I was like, I want to watch these. And my mom does not like horror movies very much. She likes some of them, but
that was also a little bit of a limiting factor for me because Amanda doesn't like horror, which I very much understand. But I had to I watched a lot of it with Higu and Stan because then I could just be on my computer. I watched a lot. I'll talk about this later because this was movie experiences I had in 2020. I watched a bunch on Halloween night, which was very fun.
Yes, that's right.
But yeah, no, I understand that's when you live with people who do not. Which I think, thinking back, I have always lived with people who do not enjoy horror in some form or another. Z is now coming around, but when we lived together, that was not really their fave.
Right.
And so you have to, that means you have to kind of cater a little bit to what other people... Like when I watched half hour of Train to Busan, and then Amanda came home and I had to stop watching it, and they took it off Netflix.
Yeah. Rude.
Heated. I want to finish that movie so
Anyway. Yeah, and it was like that. It was horror, and it was also just Dad was like, we really need to watch Cat Ballou, and I was like, oh, do we?
I don't want to, though.
Do we really need to? And then we did, and I was like, this movie, I mean, mad respect to my dad, he has really good taste, but also sometimes, I think sometimes he remembers movies more fondly than they deserve, and I was like, man, that movie was mad racist, and just also sexist. Jane Fonda was very hot in it, but and the song was pretty good, but also I could have chosen to watch any other movie that night. But I'm not living with my parents right now, obviously. So I'm more just Picnic at Hanging Rock, Night of the Hunter, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, blah blah.
Yeah, you have a little bit more freedom to kind of pick and choose. All right, what am I watching tonight? Maybe that's I'm watching Monster Factory. Maybe that's I'm watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre or whatever.
Maybe I'm watching Shadow and Bone, and I'm watching Ben Barnes get his ass kicked. Maybe that's what I want to watch tonight.
Oh yeah, our little cousin Sashinka. Yeah,
our cousin Sashinka. Man, yeah. So let's see. What did I watch here? So my top 5, and I actually did for my new movies, I did a top 6 because I did this in the full document as well, where I did the top 10. I put Over the Garden Wall here because it's a mini-series. I gave that list 1 extra because it didn't feel fair.
It's not technically a movie, but...
Yeah, but it's so good.
It made it onto my movies list, even though it's technically not a movie, so...
Yeah, it's just so great. I have to include it. So my top 5 of... and I just said all that about, it's so hard to, choose what to watch with my parents, but, half of these are movies that I watch with my parents. My top 6 are Rebel Without a Cause, Dog Day Afternoon, Paris, Texas, Over the Garden Wall, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and To Be or Not to Be. So Rebel Without a Cause, Dog Day Afternoon, and To Be or Not to Be, I watched with my parents, and we all vastly enjoyed. I just think there's something so, Rebel Without a Cause, I was crying, I think 5 minutes into that movie already because of James Dean's performance. It was really resonating at that moment, and that movie just moves so beautifully, and also feels way ahead of its time. Dog Day Afternoon, easily one of Al Pacino's best performances, if not his best. And To Be or Not to Be has just grown on me the more I think about it. I think that movie is so daring and so funny. And Paris, Texas, I actually watched because this is actually before I had a Criterion Channel account, but I watched on the Criterion Channel because the director of a music video that I did, who was also going to direct myself and my father and a friend of ours in a film that didn't pan out because pandemic happened. He was telling me, I met with him for the first time to see if he could meet me before doing the movie, and we ended up just talking about movies the whole time and Criterion Collection and blah blah blah. And he said you should watch Paris, Texas, and here's my Criterion Channel account. Log in and treat yourself to this movie because it's kind of the when we showed the music video, he's like, this is the kind of energy that I'm thinking about for this character that you're playing in this music video. This kind of lost clown sort of lost sad clown sort of character, which is Harry Dean Stanton in Paris, Texas. That movie is very lovely, and I haven't revisited it since watching it, and I would like to again because I feel like there's a lot of it too that, yeah, just thematically, I'd like to revisit it. But I did love it. Over the Garden Wall, we've talked about, masterpiece. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf was fantastic, great adaptation of a script that I know very well. George Segal, who actually also passed away just I think within the past few months, plays, oh God, I never can remember his name. Why? That's so funny to me that I can never remember the name of that character. Nick. My God, I can never remember that. He plays Nick in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. It's because he's such a blank slate that he's just so... but yeah, George Segal is very good in that movie. It's a fantastic adaptation, so dynamic. I talked about that a little bit on that one episode where we talked about all that jazz and everything. So I've already kind of yabbering about that for a little bit. Great movie. Yeah. And then top rewatches. So Portrait of a Lady on Fire is at the top of this list. I watched that movie 3 times last year. I rewatched it 3 times last year. And then I also watched it for the first time in December of 2019. And then I just watched it again with you guys a couple weeks ago. So in a span of about a year and a few months, I've seen it about 5 times. So that just makes sense to me. Beautiful movie. It was the last movie that I saw before movie theaters shut down. I took my mom to see it for her birthday. I took my mom to see the French lesbian period movie. It was great. And she really enjoyed it. And I think very fondly about that night now, too. It's very stamped in my memory because of the circumstances under which we saw it and how it was the last one for me that I saw for a little while. You know, I'm thinking of going back to the movies pretty soon, and it's kind of, I'm tentatively excited about it, but it's also making me extremely nervous.
Yeah, my Ezra recently went to the movies actually, and I think had a good time.
Good.
But Amanda also went to the movies fairly recently and was like, yeah, actually, and both of us were fully vaccinated by this point. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, no, actually, it was they had people distanced very well. It was obviously masks on. It felt very pretty well handled, all things considered, you know. And I think I was like, wow, yeah, maybe not anytime in the next couple months, but going into late summer and fall and winter, that's a thing that can start. I mean, we're gonna Green Knight is coming out in July. I'm gonna see that in the theater come hell or high water. So yeah. But after that, you know, yeah, it's one of those things where I was like, yeah, come July, that's something I feel like I'd see in the theater, which is wow, what an adrenaline rush that feels like in so many ways.
Oh my god,
I don't remember the last thing I saw in a theater, so because there were a couple things that we were going to see in theaters and then couldn't. I think it might have been Maurice, actually. Wow, what a last movie to see in a theater.
My God, right? I had tickets to see Miss Fisher and the Crypt of Tears.
Yes, we all did.
Yeah.
And then we were also going to see Mad Max Fury Road in black and white, and they literally canceled it the day before.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That sucks.
It was going to be 2 days, because you, me, I think Madeline.
Well, Madeline and I did go and see Mad Max Fury Road in Chrome the year before, I think.
Yes, and Leia and I were going to go that year, and then the next day we were going to go see Miss Fisher.
I gotcha.
So it was going to be like a 2-day event for... I think Leia was also going to go to that, so it was going to be a 2-day event for us, and it all got canceled. So for me, that is my mental lock of like last thing I saw, even though I didn't see them because I was just about to.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah. But I'm like excited for the first thing back to be Green Knight. Fingers crossed.
I specifically I'm excited to go back to movies in general, but the adrenaline rush, the feeling of being in a movie theater specifically to watch The Green Knight, it makes me so pumped. It makes me so excited. I just I can't wait to see a proper fantasy adventure movie that looks creepy.
I'm gonna lose my fucking shit
on a big screen with a good sound system. One of my
favorite Arthurian legends. I'm gonna just
Dev Patel
be dead in the theater. I'm gonna be sad that you're gonna be in New York and I'm not gonna be able to see it with you specifically.
Yeah,
but we'll text each other about it afterwards.
We should somehow find a showing. I don't know how the fuck we will manage this. Probably impossible. A showing that is happening at the same time. In our different time zones. Yeah. So we can just text each other when we get out of the movie theater.
Yeah. Oh, God.
So thrilled for that.
Movies.
Yeah.
Okay. So what else is on your rewatch list?
All That Jazz, which I rewatched twice. I watched that
movie
the first time with my parents because Ezra actually got that for me on DVD for Christmas 2019 and in Criterion, and I was like, dope as hell. And I hadn't rewatched it since I watched it for the first time in my final year of college. It was actually after I graduated, but that summer, and I was really moved by it the first time I saw it, and I was really happy to revisit it and then promptly share it with you as well. Which is the day of that was the one day when we watched both Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and All That Jazz.
Very good. We watched All That Jazz first?
I think we watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang first.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang first. Did we end on... Were we okay, we gotta get... I don't know why we did it in that order.
I don't know either.
I don't know why we were let's get the fun thing out of the way first, and then watch the, emotionally intense thing second.
Yeah, that was probably not... I mean, in a way...
Not our best and brightest ideas.
In a way, All That Jazz is also fun, and in a way, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is also emotionally intense, just in different ways.
True.
If you're a freak like me, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is emotionally intense.
It's emotionally intense. No.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Love that movie. Jaws, I also watched it twice because I watched it with y'all, with you and Ezra and Leia and Madeline over Discord, which was great.
I was going to fill in, you watched it on 4th of July.
Yes.
It's a 4th of July movie for you. Yeah.
That is correct. Yes, I did also do that with my parents. I love Jaws. So, and I also I've also rewatched it this year as well because I brought it with me to New York, and my roommates and I rewatched it. Because they're like, yeah, I feel like watching Jaws.
It's a good-ass movie.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I also feel like watching Jaws. Crazy.
Whoa! This is just a quick aside, but we had today at work, we had a little trivia game, and the section was movies, and I was like, I got this. And of course there was a Die Hard question that's what's the name of the tower, and I nailed it, but they were like, what's the name of the boat? Jaws. And I was like, oh fuck, I've only seen that movie twice, but I was like, God, I wish I could just text Helena right now and ask what the name of the boat Jaws is.
It's the orca.
Get it. Yeah, I know. No one got it, to be fair, because almost everybody was like, I don't like sharks and that movie is scary to me. And I wanted to be like, Jaws is really good, actually.
Yeah.
I really like that movie, but I cannot remember the boat for the fucking life of me. I felt in like the spirit of the universe that in that moment that you were like sad.
Yeah.
I didn't know why.
When did this happen? This is today?
This was today, and this would have been about like 12:30, between 12:30 and 12:45 PST.
Okay, so it was 3 o'clock. I was just getting back from my lunch break.
So could you all just could have been sad for the existential despair of coming back from your lunch break?
This is true. But it was both, really. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
You
didn't realize, but I fucked up a question about Jaws, and all my coworkers said that they don't like Jaws because they don't like sharks.
Well, so they don't know if they don't like Jaws, so they're silly. Because you can't know if you don't like
I felt for a moment like I was gonna be that guy and be like, Jaws is really good, actually, you guys should try it. Because, like, I don't want to be that guy, because, like, sometimes people just don't want to watch movies. That's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But also I was like, God, Jaws is so good.
Yeah. I feel
Jaws
like
is a really good movie.
I will be that guy because I there's two stories about Jaws that I really like to tell. One of which is that, and first of all, I want to say that it was such a joy watching it with you guys in the chat, like being so familiar with this movie and watching you guys be like, oh shit, and then seeing like little baby Richard Dreyfuss and being like, oh, he's cute, and like going over like his intricate rituals with Roy Scheider was very good. Yeah, I deeply enjoyed your interpretation of Jaws, as it were. But there's two stories that I used to tell about Jaws, which is like, I saw Jaws at a very young age. I think I was like maybe 10. But I could be aging myself down a little bit. And I really enjoyed it. I feel like I've been scared of the water ever since. Like, I've been scared of sharks in the water ever since, even though I know in my brain that sharks are like endangered and we're a greater predator to them than they are to us because we steal all their food supply and we hunt them down for no good reason. Like, logically, I know all of that. And that the only reason that they're coming so close to shore is because we're eating all their food supply, so they have to come further in to get better fish. Like, I know all this logically, but my hind brain is just scared of having my legs bitten off. Because also, when I was young, it's like a very formative age, there was that surfer, that young girl who's now, I think in her 30s, whose name I can't remember, who was featured in American Girl magazine when this happened, which is a magazine that I read and had a subscription to as a kid, who was swimming, and I believe she got her arms bitten off by a shark when she was surfing. And like, she's become a very cool like disability activist since then, especially for like doing sports as well, and like that's very cool. But like, I read that story around the same time that I saw a movie about a man eating sharks, so I was like, maybe I'll just not go in the water then. How's that? And it's worked for me so far. Yeah. So I used to tell people
that we live in a state where shark attacks are not really a thing we have to worry about.
Yeah, no, they're not. I mean, you hear about them occasionally, but they're mostly in California and Hawaii.
Yeah.
Oregon's not really a place that they like to go very much. We have
other things we have to worry about, re the ocean, but sharks is not one of them.
Mostly like...
It's funny for me, person with fish phobia, because I love sharks, actually. I am not afraid of sharks in any way. But something about fish, fucked up, hate them, don't like them. Sharks doesn't count.
So what kind of... Is there any fish that you... Do you like what is the limit here? Do you like goldfish?
No, do not like goldfish.
Okay.
It's funny because we actually kept fish when I was growing up, and I didn't mind them so much, so I don't really know where the switch was that like suddenly it was an issue. I actually had betta fish growing up as well. Betta fish I have less. Betta fish are like maybe the only fish I don't like feel just genuine disgust upon seeing. I don't love to look at them for too long, but betta fish get a pass. Almost any other kind, anything when you think fish, basically everything else is a no-go for me.
So aquarium's not your thing. Do you
weirdly love aquariums? They're just, you know, those any because I like tide pools. I love the ocean. I like sharks. I like whales. I like dolphins. Almost everything else that lives in the sea, love it. Am obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Any area that is like fish specific, I just kind of like speed walk through.
Yeah. What about jellyfish?
Same thing with the Oregon Zoo. They have those tanks that are just fish. Yeah. And I never go in there. I'm just like, nope. I will be on the other side of that, near where the sea lions are. You can find me down there.
Those sea lions are
otters. Love otters.
Love otters. Love them. The polar bears are kind of in that general area, the tundra area.
Love polar bears. Penguins. Big fan.
Big fan.
Hate fish.
Wow. Yeah. Does jellyfish count as well?
Jellyfish do not count.
Okay, cool.
They are not. When you think of a fish, you do not generally think of a jellyfish.
No,
they are
this is
fine.
true. I love jellyfish.
My parents got a little toy for their cats that looks like a fish, and they turn it on and it flops around. And they were like, "Oh, look at this!" And I was like, "I don't love that, but like that's fine." They turned it on, and I was like, "You need to turn that off right now." They were like, "Whoa, okay." And I was like, "Sorry, looked too much like a real fish. Didn't like it. Very bad."
So Matty, and I hate to drag this on longer than I need to, but what are your feelings on Finding Nemo?
They don't look like realistic fish.
Good to
know. Finding Nemo is fine.
Cool.
Fish for the, like, non-real fish, if they don't look hyper-realistic, are usually fine. Mm-hmm. The fish in Animal Crossing are starting to hit, like, new Animal Crossing are, like, close to the border of too realistic for me to feel really comfortable with.
Yeah.
But they're fine.
Well, they're kind of like the tarantulas, because I watched that brief video of
Bugs, no problem.
Griffin McElroy, like, getting chased by a tarantula, and I was like, that's a little bit... Because my thing, of course, is with spiders, which I've gotten better about over the years. It used to be really bad when I was a kid. But, like, sometimes I just see them, and I'm like, oh, nah, not for me. And so those were hitting a little too close to home for me in that video. Yeah. I don't like things that can scuttle fast. I don't like it when they move really quickly. Hate that.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, phobias.
None of this is related to movies, and it is all related to Jaws.
But it's very interesting. So I used to tell people in college that, like, I've seen Jaws a million times, and I am scared of the ocean, but I like Jaws more than I like going deep in the water, so it's fine. The other story about Jaws that I think just really sums me up as a person, is that I did a lot of, what's a good euphemism for us that won't get us in trouble? I found a lot of movies on the internet, like really nice quality, like movies.
The longer you go on, the more likely it is that I will need to cut whatever it is you're about to say.
Yeah, no. And so I had Jaws when I was in college. I had access to Jaws.
Yes.
And,
yes.
and
I had access to Jaws.
Yeah, I had access to Jaws, and I used to watch scenes from it sometimes. So that's just like something that I like to do sometimes, just like watch scenes from movies out of context, And when I was dating somebody, which ended pretty shortly after this, take it or leave it. I was like, actually, there are two separate situations like this. I think I've talked about them before.
Yeah, I've heard this story, but I would love for you to tell it again.
Yeah, I was like, I can't even remember how we got to this point, but you're definitely in my bedroom and like on the bed. I can think of a few things that, two people who are dating can do in that situation. But I was like, look at this scene from Jaws on my computer, and it was like the scene where they're talking to the mayor about it's that big one shot where they're talking to the mayor about we need to fucking close everything down because of the great white shark, and it's such a good scene. And I was like, look at how good this scene is. And he was like, yeah, like I can't even remember what the reaction was to that. And I think like the other one was like when I was trying to show him Star Trek, and I showed him Sitting on the Edge of Forever, and he was like kind of like, oh, let's make out and cuddle, and I was like, okay, but Okay, but listen, we're watching City on the Edge of Forever right now, and I really need you to pay attention because this is a really important
excuse
scene.
me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me?
That's Edith Keeler,
This is really important.
And Kirk is gonna fall in love with her, but then you need to watch. You need to watch this scene. It's City on the Edge of Forever. It won a Hugo, and that didn't pan out either. So it's like
this won a Hugo. You think that you're more important than an episode that won a Hugo?
Exactly.
I don't think so.
And then so we did it for 3 months, and that was a very short-lived relationship. So that's probably why. I don't know. So I watched Jaws. That was one of the movies that I rewatched last year. I also rewatched It's a Wonderful Life, of course, because we watch that every December for Christmas.
Yep, because it's good.
It's good. It's a great movie. Love it. Actually gets better every time I see it, which is wild. Because there's a
Makes
time...
me cry every time. Yeah.
Every time. There's a time when I was like, I watched it a lot when I was a kid, and I was like, this movie's good. And then I was like, watching it more, and I was like, this is my favorite movie. And then I kept watching it, and people were like, It's a Wonderful Life, it's your favorite movie. And I was like, maybe it's not as good as I think it is. Like, maybe there's some weird stuff about it that's like kind of cheesy and blah, blah, blah. And like some of this editing stuff is really weird. And now I watch it again and again, and I'm like, actually, this is really good. And the stuff even that I thought was kind of like not great before, I'm actually like forgiving it, and I think it's good now. So never mind. It's been quite a seesaw with that movie. Like, I've always thought that certain things about it were really great. Jimmy Stewart, obviously fantastic, always. But even the stuff that I didn't always appreciate before, I come around on every year, and it makes me cry so much. It's very moving.
It's a good movie, actually.
Yeah,
don't know what to tell you.
Don't know what to tell you.
It's great.
Speaking of movies that make me cry, the last movie on this list is Weekend, which is Andrew Hayes' I think his debut film from 2011, which I watched for the first time when I was in college because, I guess that would have been shortly after it came out. A lot of people on Tumblr were talking about it, and it looked really interesting, and so I found a way to watch it. And
you had access to it.
I had access to it, and it's, for those of you who are not familiar with Weekend, it's a very talky movie. It's kind of like I hate to compare it to what about a heterosexual romance, but it's very before sunset, before sunrise-esque, very talky movie about two men who meet each other at a party, and they have a one-night stand, and then start becoming closer to each other and talking about their relationships, their lives, being gay, and like what that means to them and what that means to them as artists. Because one of them is a photographer. I think he's a photographer. Yes, and a writer. And trying to kind of like decide where to go with their relationship before one of them has to leave. I think he's moving to Portland, which is really funny. One of them is leaving England and moving to Portland, Oregon. Godspeed, my man.
Of all the places to go.
Of all the places, they picked that. And I really enjoyed it when I watched it for the first time, and so it was one of the movies that I bought very early on when I started getting Criterion Collection DVDs, and I finally rewatched it towards the beginning of the year, and it hit me a lot harder than it hit me when I was, I guess it would have been 19 or so when I watched it, 19 or 20. I watched it alone in the basement because it has a lot of, pretty... I hesitate to use the word graphic because that's not really a word that I would use, but it has some very explicit sex scenes between two men in it, and I was like, this is something that I would prefer to watch by myself. Thank you. And I'm kind of glad I did, because there's just a scene that I don't want to spoil for people who still want to watch it, but it's a scene between the two of them when they're talking about coming out to their parents, and I just watched that scene, and I just started, when that scene was over, I just started crying instantly and kind of had a hard time pulling myself together. I was like, whoa, what is this? Where has this been hiding? So I really appreciate that movie's ability to do that. I think it's a really understated, beautiful movie. But yeah, there's so many more movies I could talk about. Yeah,
totally fair. There's something about watching anything that involves, like, and this could be reality. Amanda and I watch a lot of reality TV, and like, or movies or anything that like involves a character talking about the process of coming out. That just like every time it is waterworks for me. And like I had a relatively straightforward, at least like sexuality coming out for the most part. You know, like any coming out, it had its ups and downs, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But like, every time, no matter what it is, it just gets me so hard. I don't know if that is Amanda also cries much every time, but we're criers in our house.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know if that's a like universal kind of queer soft spot.
Yeah.
But like,
I think it for sure is, because I feel the same way. There's definitely like a couple of times even on something like Schitt's Creek where, I mean, I've told people like the reason that I started watching Schitt's Creek is because I like I think a lot of people that I've talked to, I started watching it with my parents and I was like, I don't really know if I'm into this. And then I just kind of stopped watching it with them. And then they continued to watch it. And then, one day they were watching an episode that I was in the room for. And David, who is Dan Levy's character, has a really hard time saying, I love you to people in general. Like this whole thing, it's like his boyfriend, like finally tells him that I love him. And he said that, okay, like, you know, that just saying that is going to make me more uncomfortable for the rest of the day because I have such a hard time saying that, not just to people I'm in a relationship with, but to just everyone. And then at the end of the episode, like, he manages to do it in a way that was like, I was like, okay, I really, that meant a lot to me because I don't know if that's just like a specific thing about being gay, that fear of, it's a fear of intimacy in a way, I think, even though it's like a verbal intimacy, but also crosses over into physical intimacy. That I feel like we don't give gay characters sometimes enough to verbalize because we're so busy. And not that this is a bad thing, because there's other parts of the queer experience that we need to talk about. I feel like sometimes we're so busy with like the whole repression and coming out aspect of being gay that we don't always get to talk about like the normal stuff that also affects us while on top of being gay, because I think it's a double whammy. It's just different. And I really appreciated seeing that, and I started crying watching this scene out of context, and that's why I went back and I watched Schitt's Creek. And they also had a coming out for Patrick as well, like his boyfriend's character on that show. That was really beautifully done as well, because there was like this underlying fear, because Dan Levy has talked about, you know, before, I didn't want to focus on homophobia. Like, that's not what I wanted to write a show about. But at the same time, acknowledging that this is obviously a thing that exists in the world. So his parents not knowing that Patrick is gay, and he had like this fear underneath that like they're going to react badly to this. And what if they don't take this well? Here's what here's what we're going to do. Here's what I have to do to support you, and I'm going to like bridge this gap for you. And it ends up not being like, you know, a kind of, in the classical sitcom sense, the problem that they thought was the problem is not actually the problem. But there's always, it was just handled really beautifully. And I think this is all just to say that like you're definitely not alone crying at coming out scenes. Even just like talking about it. Yeah.
I know, it gets you just kind of choked up. I think about like there was this post floating around on, you know, notoriously reliable website Tumblr.com, but it was something that still spoke true to me, where someone was like, there is a thing about coming out. and that is coming out as gay, as trans, as anything. That no matter, even if you are in a position where your parents love you, they're very accepting, I grew up around gay people. I was partially raised by a lesbian in my situation, like my whole extended family's like my parents anyway, my brother, very accepting. But in every queer person's mind, there's this idea that like, but for you, the love is going to be conditional, and you can never ever shake that.
Yeah.
I think that I've never heard of a single queer person where there wasn't this like terrible fear that like, but for me, it's gonna be different.
Mm-hmm. I feel like,
and it's just awful.
A fear that
Jesus Christ, it's awful.
I have this every time that like, I've already come out to my parents and several of my family members, not all of them, but many of them. And every time I do something that's a little gay, not even a lot gay, like we're not even talking about the gayest things about me. We're talking about the stuff that's like kind of gay about me. Even if I do that, like every time I do something, I'm like, this is going to be it. Like this is going to be the thing that's too gay.
Yeah, this is going to be,
yeah.
It was too much. I went a little,
mm-hmm.
It's so, this episode has gone a few places. I have noticed in the past few years, I don't know, this is not something I do on purpose. I think it's something I've done a lot of my life. Mm-hmm. And it's very funny because it's so stereotypical. I do the hand thing. Like, I walk around like holding shit in my hands, limp-wristed,
me too.
All the time.
Oh my god, me too. It's
like,
the doing
all the time. I notice myself doing it.
It's the doing drag as like masculinity as drag for us kind of thing that somebody else is talking about. But continue.
Yes, for me, I don't know. I think. It's not even a thing where I was like, this is something I'm going to start doing as a way to, I don't know.
No,
and that is valid if you if people.
No,
so
I don't do it on purpose.
No. I wasn't. I'm talking about in general. Like, if you're out there, that's a thing that you do kind of as a signaling thing. Like, I respect that about you, and for me, it is entirely unconscious. And I notice that sometimes when I am in public spaces, I specifically stop myself from doing that.
Yeah.
Not that you look at me and think, that's a hetero. People tend to assume I'm a lesbian, actually, which I was talking about with some friends the other day, that people are like, oh yeah, you're a lesbian, and I'm like, I never told you that. And they're like, you totally, and I'm like, oh, no, I didn't, you little bitch. I've never said that, because it's never been true.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, that, like, there's always this line of, like, okay, but what's too fruity? You know, what's gonna...
Exactly.
What's gonna get me in trouble? Where's the line? And for me, I remember specifically when I used to work at the bookstore, I was doing that. And I, like, put my hands in my pockets. Because I was like, I can't do this here. Boy, it's being gay, being trans, being any, being queer is really cool, and I would not be any other way given the choice. But also, man, fucked up sometimes the way you think about your own life.
It's this double thing where, like, I think when I was in college, I think it was my movement teacher who said some weird thing about, like, gender and the way that we put ourselves out into the world, and so that, like, a lot of people who are brought up as women or are, think of themselves as women, kind of, like, even when they're standing at stop signs or, like, standing at a crosswalk, like, we stand with our legs together relatively and whatever. And, like, there's sometimes a lot of guys, the same way that a lot of guys do this on the train, all the women do this too, like, stand with their legs apart and, like, upright and, like, forceful at, like, crosswalks to present themselves as being, like, I don't know, in control, ready to go, which is, like, yes, that's probably true of a lot of guys, but mad generalization, but I started doing it because I was like, okay, so if I start standing like a man at crosswalks, then people will think that I'm more masculine, and that's a good thing. And I do that as well as also catching myself at work and in public, and when I'm talking, being limp-wristed, and amongst many other things. And it was wild because I was out with a friend on Tuesday night this week who I haven't seen in 6 years, and they are trans, and it was so nice to be in a public space with another queer person who I could just it didn't matter how I expressed myself physically or verbally, or what we talked about, because it was just a shared vocabulary in a way. Yeah, I mean, I know we all know this, like, queer spaces or spaces in being in one space with another queer person is like a completely different experience, but yeah, I'm saying all this while looking at a picture from Maurice too, so this is like really fucking
yeah, boy. I think about sometimes, and like, I guess someday we'll get back to movies, but shut up, we're a queer movie podcast, and now we're doing emphasis on queer. I think about when I moved in with Amanda, who is a lesbian, and I was the I was the first queer roommate she had, I think, ever had. And I am best roommate of all time for her in many ways. Haha. She's told me this. It's fine. I can say it because she told me. But part of it is, as early on in our like roommate-ship, she like had this realization, and she told me, she was like, it's so different living with someone who's gay. Because there are ways that I can talk to you that I just don't have, like, I can live with you in like the most authentic way. Right. And I don't have to live, even if you're not doing it consciously, you don't have to think about, like, it was just like we had a rainbow flag that we put in a little thing like on our table, and for her that was just such a like revelation. And she could like talk about loving women, and I would be like, yes, I totally understand what you're saying. Like, you don't have to translate it for me, like, I just inherently know. Yeah. And for her, that was just such a like positive, rewarding experience. And for me, also living with her has been positive and rewarding, but I've lived with queer people before, so you know, for me it was not a brand new, and for her it was just like, she brought it up a few times right after I moved in, that it was just such a like, wow, this is really, really nice that we just like have an inherent understanding of each other's circumstances. And it's like, yeah, man, why do you think I don't have like any straight and or like, I have cis friends and I have straight friends, but I have very few who are both. I think one. I thought I had one. Maybe?
Well, let me
One
think.
or two.
There's something I have to tell you about one of the friends that I thought I had who was straight off the podcast. But,
okay.
But like, yeah, I mean, when I think about it, I mean, I have lots of friends who are like, what I think is really great, and this is, you know, this might have to be the conversation we end on because, like, you know, it is late, but this is related to movies. Just think about have a Maurice screensaver on the background as you listen to this, and then it's about movies. What was I going to say? I feel like with our generation, something which is really nice that I have noticed, and especially with, I think, you know, people who are younger than us too, is that I've had a lot of friends where, like, we've talked about sexuality, and I went into college being like, yes, I am bisexual. That is like a word I'm using to describe myself, even though I don't think even then I had full, like, I think understanding is the wrong word, but like a full appreciation for what that meant going into like college and things like that. Yeah. And so I didn't even feel that as queer as I could be even when I was in college. And I've always
can I make a
yes?
It was like the LaCroix of being gay, where like it's just like a light flavoring, you know? Yeah. You're not a full like Dr. Pepper yet. It's just kind of
I dream only of becoming a full Dr. Pepper.
of queerness. Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm definitely like an orange Fanta. That doesn't matter. So
Anyway. I was trying. What was the threads I was trying to connect here? I've had like a lot of friends who I think were, to me, I made this assumption too. I was like, oh, they are straight, and they've always like said that they thought that they were straight. And the longer that I got to know them, they're like, I mean, we're much more open about talking about the way that we experience attraction and being like, yeah, like I have experienced attraction to women before, I think, and like all of these things in a way that's like further, like I'm like, oh, am I farther along on this, you know, if there was like a path, which, you know, there isn't. Everybody does this in all kind. There's no like straight line to being queer. But like people experiencing this you know, experiencing this in different ways at different times. And I feel like at least the people that I associate with are very like open-minded to discovering that part of themselves, you know. So it's all very interesting and very good, obviously, in that way.
Yeah, you know, and I guess to tie it back into movies, I think too there's also been a shift in like thinking back to like when we were growing up as teens, like, you know, Helena, tell me right now, what was the gay movie when we were teens?
I mean, the first thing that I thought of was Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the first thing on my...
Yeah.
For us, that was... I mean, there were, like, obviously already, like, underground, indie movies, like, a lot of that stuff, but for, like, mainstream, what is the gay movie? It was Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
Which, like, I love that movie. It's very near and dear to my heart. It was, like, very kind of influential for me in my kind of coming out experience, but also, like, it is a tragedy. And for like for the kids these days, and for even people our age who are like who are older, who are coming out older, there is such a wider mainstream plethora of things they can get access to, even like books, TV shows. And then this is not to say that like all of it is like, man, I love this piece of representation, but like, or like, man, I hate rainbow capitalism, because I do. But like even in the like 10 years since we've graduated high school, it's incredible how much things have started to shift. And I guess I don't really know where I'm headed with this, but it's cool to like watch it happen, and for there to be gay stories now, for people who are just people of all ages who are figuring themselves out that aren't tragedies.
Choices. I thought you were going to say, when you first started to ask me that question, what was the first gay movie that I ever saw? And I was going to be like, well...
Oh, no, slightly different, yeah.
Well, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, for me, like, that was...
Well, yes.
I mean, there's so many... I mean, I think about, like, the different experiences of queerness that I had growing up in the media, and it's like, yes, Brokeback Mountain, which I actually didn't see until 6 years ago. But I was very aware of it, and, like, you know what I did watch a lot of when I was growing up? Not a lot of, but I watched it from now and again, was Will and Grace. Like, that was a lot of my, you know, exposure.
Early understanding of gay people in the media, yeah.
Yeah, early understanding. And I was like, yeah, this is just it. And I never had to, like, you know, I grew up in a very, you know, similar to you as well, like, theater people, you know. A lot of the people that in my life were, my parents' friends were gay. And so, like, it wasn't a thing that I had to be like, being gay is okay because Will says that he can, you know, it's like, no, yeah, Will and Jack are gay and they're stereotypes, and, like, I get this, and also, and, like, I understand all this when I was a kid because I was watching these, like, shows for adults when I was a child. You know, and so I think it's great that we have this, because my experience of I think queerness growing up was inherently tied to, and still is tied to, camp and repression.
Yeah.
Which is just like, that's just my experience in a lot of gay stuff. That's what I connect to in a lot of gay stories. But now we have a wider, like, availability of all different kinds of queer stories. Yeah. And some of them are going to be bad. Yeah. And some of them are going to be, like, I feel well-meaning, but, you know, not great. You know, in a way.
And,
or, like,
some of them are, like, you know,
work.
Oh, sorry, please.
No, please, go ahead.
And some of them are things that, like, I don't even necessarily feel represented by, but somebody will.
Yeah.
Which is, like, that wasn't even an option, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, this is the flavor of it. This is the one flavor you get.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, and, like, fucking forget trans stories.
Yeah.
I mean, still, obviously that is something that is behind the curve, but, like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
That was not anywhere on the radar for mainstream media, anyway. Like,
yeah, or like,
and if
it
was trans misogynistic. Let me,
yeah.
You know, I don't know, and also, like, the amount of, like, did you see the other day that Demi Lovato came out as trans?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and, like, or Elliot Page, or, you know, that is also something that, like, queer artists are starting to feel like they can represent themselves more. Obviously, this is not saying, like, wow, isn't everything so great now? Because it fucking blows in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But, like, wow, hot damn, are things different? And so, yeah, I don't know.
I think we owe it all. You know who I think we owe it all to?
Who do we owe it all to?
Because what year did Brokeback Mountain come out, Maddie? Do you want to do a quick little Google for me?
Yeah, give me a sec. Let me mute my mic. You ever think about how Anne Hathaway was in that? 2005.
Frequently. I knew it. So, you know what else came out in 2005?
What came out in 2005?
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
So,
this
is all Gay Perry's influence, actually.
Yeah, I think we owe it all to Gay Perry, the king of unkillable gays. I think he was the watershed, he was the moment, he is the movement.
The beginning and the end. Yeah,
the beginning
absolutely.
and the end. Yeah.
Unflappable gay representation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry if you don't agree, but, like, he's it. He's the blueprint.
He is the blueprint. He is the outline.
Thank you, Val Kilmer. Like, I'm including him in the gays club. He's, like, unofficial member along with Patrick Stewart. Like, I'll let you in.
Yeah.
You did a solid for us.
He is the foundations of this home, and the home is gay representation in the media.
We would not have Sneople without Gay Perry.
The other...
Can you imagine Sneople if Kiss Kiss Bang Bang didn't exist? What a fucking podcast that would be.
You're talking about a paradox, Maddie, because there wouldn't be a Sneople if Kiss Kiss Bang Bang didn't exist.
That's true. That's true.
I'm looking at this list of best gay rep from last year now, and I also want to say that before Gay Perry, there was also River Phoenix in my own private Idaho. I do want to make a shout out to River as well.
Yeah.
A sadder
movie I still haven't seen. A movie I've read the description for multiple times, but still haven't seen because I know it's going to just make me really, really, really sad.
It's really sad, yeah.
For, like, 2 hours or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not ready for that right now. And the issue is I'll never be ready for that, so...
Yeah.
Whatever.
That movie is very interesting, and this is the last thing I'll say before we, our last thoughts. Because it is slightly based on Henry IV in a very strange way that I don't entirely understand, and at one point...
Maybe you don't have to.
I don't think I have to, but it's just, like, very interesting how it does that. Like, for the first, like, half hour of the movie, it's, like, not an adaptation of Henry IV, and then all of a sudden they're, like, taking direct lines out of Henry IV, and it was like, what? Huh? And then it stops doing that, and then it starts doing it. I'm like, what is happening? It was very interesting. Completely wild. Anyway. Being gay?
Episode this has been.
It's really
being gay is, I think it's pretty good. When
you're gay and you don't like fish, is kind of the experience.
When you're here, you're queer.
When you're here, you're A-Queer-ium. That's a good word, A-Queer-ium.
Okay, making that the episode title. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love there to be an aquarium. I don't know what would be in it, but I think it would just be an aquarium that only gay people can get it.
Probably a lot of, like, camp mermaids, right?
Yeah, an aquarium that's also a gay nightclub. But in a way that doesn't make the fish sad with the strobe lights.
Upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be important.
maybe they're like little mechanical fish.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the kind of fish that they have in those go-go boots that have little aquariums on the bottom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I
Yeah.
do. I at first when you said that, I was like, I don't know where they're going with this. And then you said the word, the aquarium's at the bottom of the go-go boots. And I was like, yes. Now I know my 70s fashion. You're right. Of course. Duh. Those go-go boots.
I have always been enthralled with those kinds of boots. I'm like, what a fucking batshit concept.
They're fascinating, and characters on
How do
My
they get
Life
the
as a
fucking
Teenage
little
Robot
fish in there?
wore them. There were characters on that show that wore them.
Yeah,
Madness.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Get us out of here, Helena. Unlock the door.
I don't know what that was. That wasn't a key opening and lock. Oh well.
God, we've lost the key. We're trapped.
Bad.
We'll have to podcast forever.
That was just the sound of someone winking and making finger guns. Appropriate. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Sneople at the Movies. The God knows why you do it from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content, and come hit us up on Twitter at people_snake. Our theme music was done by the fabulous Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter. Our logo was designed by Bethany Luthel, and you can check her out at bethanyluthel.wixsite.com. And if you've got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you think we absolutely need to see, an exclamation point? Yeah, that makes sense.
That's right.
an explanation. Wow. That's a word I can't figure out tonight, huh?
I should really warn you about what jokes I write in our ending before you hit it, huh?
Well, I mean, I could read it ahead of time, you know. An explanation of your arbitrary letterbox ranking system, or what you think about fish, and especially when they're at the bottom of go-go boots. Please come say hello. Also, if you can, please, as always, leave a review on iTunes and share the show with any friends you think would enjoy. And as always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.